About 12 years ago now, I had the idea of starting a YouTube channel documenting my life as I entered my 40s as a single man. I'd recently found myself unexpectedly single, and I had absolutely no idea how to be a single man in my 40s. It's not something I'd done before. So I thought maybe through documenting it and showing my life going through that process, maybe people would find it interesting. It was also going to be quite therapeutic, I thought. It was quite a traumatic time for me. I was trying to find a way to deal with the pretty shit situation I ended up in. Prior to having this amazing idea, I was in a relationship for 9 years. It wasn't a particularly great relationship for a lot of it. It wasn't the worst relationship I've ever been in, but I was with the same person for 9 years. Then, rather unexpectedly, for me anyway, she decided to end things via text message. That was lovely. A 9-year relationship ended by a text message. Thanks for that. And I found myself at a bit of a loss. Yeah, what do you do? What do you do being single in your 40s? What's worse, I didn't really have much of a support network. Lost touch with most of my friends from childhood, as you unfortunately do, but I can't talk today. Yeah, so it was a bit of a rough time. So yeah, YouTube channel, documenting my life, documenting me getting over the trauma of losing that relationship seemed like a good idea at the time. Now, of course, as we know, when man makes plans, gods laugh. I was all ready to embrace single life, joined Tinder, had a couple of dates, didn't think it was anything serious, and then I ended up in another relationship. So my single life in my 40s became my in a relationship life in my early 40s. Now that relationship did turn out to be an absolute mistake. The lady involved presented herself as one sort of person, turned out she was somebody completely different. She even ended up pulling the "I'm pregnant" card, going so far as to Photoshop a friend's ultrasound scan and put her details on it. That was really kind of messed up. For some stupid reason, I have no idea what it was, I stayed in that relationship for 3 years. And it was pretty hell the whole time. Unfortunately, I have no fond memories of that relationship whatsoever. After 3 years, I'd had enough of it, and I was planning on ending things. I was going to university, yes, at my old ass age, and I didn't need that relationship and that drama coming with me. So I had planned to wait till just before I started university, getting ready to move, and then end things. It was about that time that an ex-girlfriend of mine got in touch through Instagram. She is quite literally the one that got away, the love of your life, the one you always look back on and you kick yourself for cocking it up, which I did. She got back in touch with me through Instagram. We immediately started talking. We knew straight away we was getting together. There was no question in either of our minds. We hadn't seen each other in 20 years. I'd lived my life, I'd got married. She had lived her life. She had 2 wonderful daughters. She lived in the other end of London to me. I lived right down in South East. She lived in, well, it's still called the South West, but it's really not south, it's North River. Anything North River is not south. Yeah, we got back in touch. We knew straight away we was gonna get back together. We'd planned on meeting up, but she worked very hard. It wasn't easy for me. I was working as a personal trainer at the time. I was pretty damn busy, which is good. And we didn't actually meet up for about 3 months. It didn't stop us talking all the time and talking about being together. So given that I was done with my relationship I was in at the time, and my ex-girlfriend was in touch and we were still in love, there's no question, I ended the relationship I was in. Ended relatively smoothly, no blood. Yeah, ended that relationship. Eventually got to meet up with with the woman who got in touch with me for Instagram. Yeah, instantly clicked again. Wasn't a doubt in either of our minds that we was going to be getting back together, that we was going to be together the rest of our lives. I actually proposed to her before we even met up again. I proposed to her via a picture on WhatsApp. I drew an engagement ring and sent it to her. For some reason she said yes. So we got together. I was at university, starting my sports therapy degree, and she lived with her mother, her 2 children. And so we didn't live together for a while. We didn't live together for a year, but one of the reasons we broke up many years ago, other than me being a distant dickhead, was the fact that we were so far apart. So as soon as we got back together, I decided to change that. I closed my personal training business. I moved house all the way to West London. Not my favourite part of the world, I'm going to be honest, but I moved there to be with her and the family. We lived separately for a year, and then after a year we got our first home together. We have been together 8 years since then. Not always the best years. We had COVID. I was at university when we had COVID, so I didn't really get to go in to university for most of the second year there. But we had COVID. That was stressful. Everybody living on top of each other. I think it was most stressful for the girls, what I now call my daughters, because they'd gone from living in West London, surrounded by friends, to moving out to like almost near the Twickenham area, not being able to see their friends so much, and then COVID hit that really put a kibosh on everything. We got through it. Then, unfortunately, just after I finished university, I got very ill with a condition that sucked every little bit of life out of me you could imagine. I still have that condition now. I'm still trying to manage it. It's not fun. And it's one of these conditions where the medication for it is pretty much just as bad as the condition itself. And that has caused all sorts of side effects and all sorts of complications. It's not been good. But anyway, we got through it as a family. So why is this relevant to the YouTube channel? Well, you see, I now strangely find myself, and unexpectedly find myself, as a single man in my early 50s, 51. Unexpectedly for me, maybe not for my unfortunately now ex-partner. Bit of a blow. But in this case, there wasn't any bad feelings about it. She needs to deal with a family situation, which means she can't be with me. I'm a complicated human being, and being with me is a very complicated situation, and she just can't deal with it anymore, and that is perfectly understandable. We have had other issues. I kind of thought we was working through them. I'm off the medications I was on now, and was hoping I'd be getting better, but yeah, she's done. And that really sucks. So I now find myself a single man in their 50s. And I've revisited my brilliant idea from 12 years ago about documenting what it's like to be a single man in their 50s, just to see if anyone finds it interesting, anyone finds it informative, or if people just take the piss out of the old lonely guy. And one problem I do have is that I still don't really have any support network. Now, the reason that I don't really have a support network is because I'm not particularly sociable. And I kind of think that is because I think the term is codependent on my partner. I tend to only really want to spend time with my partner. And I haven't really developed many interests outside of that. I play Warhammer 40,000, I'm a massive geek. But even that, until late last year, I hadn't played Warhammer in 10 years. And even then, there was only one person that I used to play with regularly, and we lost touch when I moved this way. That was my fault as well. I'm sure they would have kept in touch, but yeah, I kind of didn't bother. Then that changed a little bit when this year Games Workshop released a game called Legions Imperialis, which is little teeny tiny soldiers and little teeny tiny tanks, and I love playing it. And I played a few games with a local gaming club, and it was nice. It was uncomfortable because I'm not used to being in gaming clubs or with people, but it was nice. But yeah, I don't really have a support network. I kind of need to get one. I don't really have friends. I kind of need to get some of those as well. Now, I've been almost continuously in relationships since I was about 27. So as such, I've never really developed, well, not since I was a kid, I've never really developed any sense of myself because, as I said, I am pretty much codependent. When I'm in a relationship, that's my focus. I want to do the things that my partner wants to do. I don't do things that she doesn't want to do. If we don't have a shared interest, I simply won't do it. And that's something that needs to be addressed, obviously. But yeah, I've been in a relationship for almost continuously for 24 years. I've never had a chance to be single. Not for more than 6 months. And I think most of my relationships have kind of rolled into each other. So I haven't got a clue how I will be single, what I will enjoy doing, other than a bit of Legions Imperialis, obviously, what I'll enjoy doing, or how I'm going to go about doing it. Which really brings us to the point of the channel, on my little teeny tiny experiment. Years ago, I was going to document my life as a single man in their 40s, so that was a long time ago now. So now we're going to document my life as a single man in my 50s. We're going to see how I cope with this breakup, losing my family, my home, everything. We're going to see how I better myself as a person, because I've got work to do. We're going to see how I do better at communicating with people and making bonds with people and getting to know people. We're going to see how I get on with new hobbies and new experiences. I've already joined a local board gaming group. I played board games when I was a kid, obviously, or even with the family. These things like Monopoly, a bit of chess, stuff like that. The stuff we're doing is proper board games. Adult board games, obviously, because, you know, adults can play board games too. Yeah, so we're doing that. We're going to be probably getting some footage of that at some point, as long as everybody there's okay with it. I've recently got back into mountain biking, so we're going to be exploring that. We're going to be going on mountain biking trips. I've got a drone, so we're going to be doing some droning, not where we are now, there's no drones allowed. We're going to be flying the drones, we're going to be taking some footage of that. We have a new camera, so we're going to be experimenting with that. We're going to be learning how to edit videos. Ironically, the reason that we have the drone and we have the camera and we have the mic is because now that I'm feeling less fatigued and shitty all the time, I was planning on spending lots of time with my family in the summer, and I was planning on documenting it all and starting a YouTube channel with the family, of our family adventures. Something that my ex-partner and I thought of years ago. We just never got around to it. As the girls are university age now, it's probably going to be the last chance that we get to do a lot of family stuff until they start their own lives. So that was the idea. When man makes plans, God laughs. So anyway, we're going to put the camera equipment and the drones and the editing software and the mics to good use, documenting this very strange new adventure. This could all go terribly. I could end up having a major nervous breakdown. I could end up not enjoying any of the things that I'm trying. I could end up not getting on with anybody at the gaming clubs. I'm a bit of a prickly person, so that wouldn't be a surprise. I could end up going on a mountain bike ride and smacking off a cliff or bouncing off a tree. Wouldn't be the first time. But yeah, we are gonna give it a go, and we're gonna see how it goes. This is all new. I've never been a single guy in my 50s before. It should be interesting. Either that or it's gonna be an absolute shit show. Watch along and find out.